G'day, guys. It's Sunday, and I'm probably going to go off on a tangent, which I usually do. I just don't think this review or match day or practice match thoughts, which is the title. I mean, it's one of those sort of things that you sort of want to forget about pretty quickly. And in fact, I don't think we won't even remember this game. 6 weeks, 7 weeks time, well, I reckon in 4 or 5 days' time, we'll forget about this. I'm sure within the club, though, they'll do what they usually do. They'll slice and dice it, and they'll review it, and blah 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 blah. But from a fan perspective, we'll forget about this. We really will, as the excitement builds to the start of the season. And I mentioned last week, that they feel like now, compared to the old days, the old sort of Wizard Cup days where there was a trophy on the line, and the lower teams, were really desperate to win those cups, whereas the stronger teams would field less than strong teams, and I just feel that is a whole different approach to the build-up to the start of the season. So you're not going to get too carried away with obviously the result doesn't matter. I don't think anyone was upset with a spanking at the hands of the Swans, just like anyone was excited by beating Collingwood the week before. But there's always a fucking but. I think this time of year and the way it's viewed now from a fan perspective is we are looking for what's changed, so to speak. And really, if you look at us, I think the club were pretty content with what we've got. We brought one player in that was going to be, come straight into the 22, and that's Blake Acres. And the rest were young rookies who would bide their time in the VFL. And when one of those would have to actually explode, when you really think about it, one of those would have to actually just be that good that you could not pass them up for a round one debut. Not to say that they wouldn't get a chance in the preseason games, but young Binns hasn't had an opportunity to play. I think he was suited up. He didn't come on Friday night. Obviously, Lemmy's been in the VFL, young kid, but we have played Chincotta. We have played, and he's 26 years of age. We have played Hollands. And we have played Cowan. And they've all acquitted themselves quite well. And I'm going to stress they've acquitted themselves quite well. Now, young Cowan shows a tremendous amount of aggression and vigour for a young guy. Hollands, exceptional running ability, can find the ball, but very slight of frame. And Chincotta, he's at 26 years of age, coming through the VFL. He's just happened to sort of, and no disrespect, he's just, he's just happened to sort of fall into our lap because of a number of injuries. Now, this shouldn't be us. This should not be us right here, right now. And if we're contemplating, which we probably are, playing those guys, round one against the Tigers at the MCG in front of 95,000 people in the 8th year of our rebuild, where we're supposed to be primed and ready to go. Michael Voss says we are ready to go. No more talking. It's time to put actions into place rather than just talk about it. We're in a situation where we've got some rookies This isn't the fucking Bolton era where you would play a Paddy Dow in round one or a Lockie O'Brien or, even Sam Philp, I think, debuted very early on. We shouldn't be that club anymore. We shouldn't be. We should be at the stage now. And these aren't out-and-out stars who are just knocking the fucking door down. It means, obviously, the health of the list is really poor at the moment. And it also means that we have a lot of guys dragging the chain. And I like the fact that there is pressure put on these guys. But are these young rookies fucking asking a hell of a lot of them to come in? I just think we're fascinating watch this year. I really do. I think I'm excited for the season to start, and I'm somewhat excited to see, obviously, how we go. But I'm not that person that is looking at stuff at the moment and going, everything will be all right. Everything will be okay. We'll get players back and I think I'm questioning the potential of this group and the prospects this year of what it's going to look like. I'm actually starting to question it, and I know it's so early to do that. But I am so cautious. I'm so cautious. And a slow start could be, particularly looking at the long-term injuries and looking at the blokes that we have out and looking at the question marks on important players that we need in this team that are not there. I don't know. I don't know. And then I look at just our sort of game plan as well. And are we just expecting things just to roll on, that this group are just going to evolve together? They want it so bad. And they're just going to evolve. They're going to get better. We were happy with our game plan last year. We'll just keep rolling on as other clubs change things up. Do we change things up? I have not seen one difference in the way we play in the two games so far. In fact, I would go as far to say that we've been ultra conservative with the way we play and very, very stagnant. And we've always questioned the skill level of these players, the skill level, particularly by foot. And I'll repeat that, particularly by foot. Is it simplistic just to say, no, I don't think it is. When you look at that game on Friday night, and you look at the weapons that the Swans had with their ball use, the penetration of kicking from those left footers, their ability to hit targets, I'm talking 45-metre targets, lace out. And then us. Bomb kicks, floating kicks, take ages to get to a teammate kicks, turnover kicks, lazy kicks, out in the full kicks. Interesting. Ball movement, transition from our back half, disgusting. Stark contrast to what the Swans were able to do. Synergy going inside our forward 50, not great, and a lack of spread through the midfield. What has changed? What has changed? Maybe these coaches of ours are fucking geniuses. Yeah? I actually think they've had enough time now. I really do. And this is what fascinates me and intrigues me, to see how we go about it against the Tigers. And they were poor defensively yesterday. I watched that game against Melbourne, and Melbourne was slick. They were slick. They were slick. They moved the ball really well. And they're a good side. We know that. We know Richmond are a pretty bloody good side as well. But they were poor defensively, and I think their Achilles heel is their defence, but also their team defence wasn't great. But they did at least, and maybe the conditions were a little bit better yesterday than they were in Blacktown on Friday night. They were atrocious, but both teams played in them. The Swans adapted quite well. And this is an outdoor game. Oh, actually, it's not, because we play at Marvel Stadium as well. But we do play outdoors. You got to adjust to the conditions. But what the Tigers do really well, they do have some serious weapons. Some serious weapons in the way they transition the ball. Baker, Short, Bolton, obviously Martin. Really goes on. The list goes on, and they've built some contest around the ball as well, which you would think, for the most part, I don't know, will match us in that respect. But I'm not going to go into that preview at the moment. But if we go in to next Thursday with exactly that type of team defence and stagnant ball movement and kick it down the line, they got bigs who will create a contest, and we know they will swarm, and then they will just spread us, and they'll kill us. They'll kill us. They really will. So I look at kick-ins and kick-outs as well, defending kick-outs. Has that changed? Are we any better? Are we creative with that? It's either long to a contest, or the opposition are allowed. They'll let us. They're happy to concede that little one to the pocket, and then they'll just force us out wide. And the Swans sliced us, diced us when we were trying to defend the kick in. So there's the concern. So you look, Michael Voss, Aaron Hamill, Tim Clark, Ash Hansen, and there's one there. There's one right there, Ash Hansen. Okay, came highly rated. And this is not sinking the boots in. Okay, but he came highly rated to give support to Michael Voss, because I remember Brian Cook specifically said, when they appointed Michael Voss, he said one of the main reason why Voss was appointed was to change culture and build leadership at the football club and build leadership on field. And it was the number one thing this club needed to do. Now, it's impossible for us to know any of that unless you're inside the club. Yeah, you get to see it, the way it looks, the way it feels, the vibe, just everything. You just don't know. The only thing we can see is performance, yeah, and then the game plan. And Cook said, I don't know if he said these exact words, but he said one of the areas that Voss needed support in was the strategic side of the game. Again, I think it was always going to be the question mark. And obviously then, Ash Hansen comes across as a forward line and offensive coach, highly rated from the Bulldogs. Now, I don't know if it's a personnel thing, and it fell away in the second half of last year, and maybe we were doing things better in the first half of the year, but you've got to understand that this is what we've got at the moment. So what are we going to do? And I think the pressure will come. There's no doubt the pressure always comes to the coaches. We've spent a heap of money on now investing in development coaches. Power's been there for a while now. Torrin Baker's been there for a while now, and Brad Evett and Tom Lonigan come across this year as development coaches as well. So there's a lot there on development. So I'm watching closely the likes of Jack Carroll and Brody Kemp and other players in that bracket. Okay, in that bracket. So why isn't Jack Carroll? Where's Brody Kemp? Why is Ed Curnow, for example, going to be playing round one? Why is Lockie Plowman going to be playing round one? Why? So what is happening with the development of our players? I thought we'd gone past Plowman. I thought we'd gone past Ed, to be perfectly honest. And Matthew Cruiser as well, ruck coach. How's TDK going to develop this year? How's Pitnet going to go? I understand he's had injuries. Murkoff been at the club now for 3 years. Big watch this group of ours in regards to the way we play. The way we play. Fucking fascinating. It really is. I believe behind closed doors they'll be doing everything in their power. Okay, pardon the pun, Luke Power, to make this work for us. I really do. I don't know, but something in regards to our game style just doesn't stack up. Doesn't stack up. And we've seen for a period of time now, we've seen the consecutive goals. We saw it against the Pies in the practice game in the second quarter, and we saw it against the Swans in the first quarter. Okay. Anyway, let's just go through the team. Look, it probably doesn't make fucking any sense what I've spoken about at the moment, but I'm just going in with not a lot of expectations, to be perfectly honest. Super excited, but more excited to see how we develop this year, seriously develop around game style and around development of our players. Yeah. Anyway, let's just go through. Who's putting pressure on Jack Silvani? I thought he was one of our better players, but shit, in that performance, you'd only had to have half a dozen kicks and kick a goal to be one of the best players. They were all poor, really. But he worked hard. But who's the player putting pressure on Jack Silvani's role? And I can see a situation where he's going to be played in the ruck as well. I've got my doubts about Pitnet and TDK going around together. I really do. The lack of mobility with Pitnet for a start, and also the lack of forward presence by TDK. I don't know. But who's putting that pressure on that third tall forward spot? Is Jack the man? Is he seriously the man? Is he going to kick us 30-odd goals this season if he stays in that position? Is he going to do it? Does he convert enough? We know he works hard. Is he quick enough? Is he creative enough? We know he does some nice things. He puts his head over the ball. He leads up hard. He does all those types of things. But is that enough? Is that enough? Paddy Dow just didn't take the opportunity. He was okay in the first quarter, but you could just see the class difference between him and a player from the Swans, a younger player, Errol Gilden. Is that his name? You just see the class difference. And the problem with Paddy Dow, I just don't think he believes anymore. I just think he believes he's on the outer. He couldn't find a club. He's not in serious contention. I just feel like he goes out there each game and thinks, I'm going to have to play a blinder here to continue to be in this team. I just don't think he's mentally able to do it. And I don't know if he's capable of doing it either. So I just thought it was, fuck, you're playing the midfield these days, you're going to get your hands on the ball. You're going to get your hands on the ball. Yeah, you're going to. So it's what you do with it. No. Jesse Motlop, disappointing. By all reports, he's had a big pre-season. He's okay against the Pies. Was really struggled, I thought. Showed a little bit of frustration. Went away from, I suppose, the defensive acts. He's a young player, but young second year, small forwards can really get motoring. And he's got the body now. He's got the body and the size to do some damage. We saw Keziah Pickett do it for Melbourne in his second season, so there's no reason why Motlop can't do it. So he becomes a really important part of our club. But is he ready to take on that responsibility? I'm not quite sure. Lockie O'Brien, just fucking awful, really. Like, he showed some good signs against Collingwood, but this one was just an absolute shocker. And if this had been in the season proper, he wouldn't be playing next week. That's how bad it was. He was just handed a football lesson by, I think it was Oscar McInerney, just far more aggressive, far more enthusiastic. McInerney in the face of his opponents. real live wire, uses the ball well, good overhead. Yes, he was in everything. Lockie O'Brien was hardly side. And then when he did have one opportunity, I think in that last quarter, to hit someone lace out, he turned it over. Very, very poor. And this is why we're seriously thinking you're playing Hollands, because fucking hell, O'Brien is like Dow. This is like 5-6 years is now on an AFL list, and we're patronising like, oh, they're coming along. Oh, they're still, this. I mean, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? When are we going to get some consistency out of these guys? Are we going to be talking about this for the whole year? A real weakness in that area. Chera, solid, just solid. Hasn't set the world on fire, just solid. I think we could probably expect a little bit more out of him in regards to his ball use. But I think he's physically primed to have a pretty good year. Kennedy, the same, solid, primed to have a good year. Doesn't do a hell of a lot special, but we know his strengths. Good at the contest, uses it quite well, good in the air. Just a really solid contributor. Thought the midfield were okay, considering there was no Walsh, there was no Cripps. TDK, beaten in the ruck, took a couple of marks around the ground, did sweet fuck all when he was in the forward line. I think we're just going to have these same conversations about TDK for the whole year. I think the commentators are going to ejaculate every time he takes a mark and carry on like pork chops. But we'll be watching him pretty closely. And, time will come, time will come in regards to when is it that you really have to start to step up and play consistent football, and question marks will remain about whether he's actually a ruckman or a forward, or is he a key defender? What is he exactly? Okay, Blake Acres, really good. I just think he's good. I think he'll be great for us. I think it was a good pickup. I think he'll just give a solid four-quarter performance on that wing. Strength, kicks the ball long, doesn't always make great decisions. I'm just got my fingers crossed that he stays. He's injury free, because he has in the past had some hamstring issues, and we could not afford to have him out for any significant amount of time. Without Cottrell at the moment, long-term injury. I think it's important that we keep Blake Acres on the park. Hollands, like the way he goes about it. He looks classy, runs all day, both ways. Let's face it, he'll get fucking eaten alive. He'll get eaten alive. I'm sure he's a confident kid. He'll put his head over it, but Jesus Christ, it's a big ass. Doc, solid. When he's back, didn't give us a lot of run. I don't think it's his go anymore to really explode from the back half. Went into the midfield. There's a bit of flexibility there with him now. Jack Carroll came on late. Like some of our coaching is a big watch with guys like Jack Carroll. He came in last year, played 4 or 5 games, showed a little bit, and now he's sort of disappeared a little bit. He comes in, played a quarter, looked a bit off the pace. What the hell is going on? Why aren't these guys developing? What is it? What is it? Are we going to question the recruiting? Are we going to question development? But you look at him and you think, well, yeah, he's got some issues with his kicking, but he's got a big body. He moves well. Why? What's going on there? What's going on? Didn't do a lot when he came on. Lockie Plowman, one okay thing followed by 4 really bad things. Not the answer. Not the answer. He's playing round 1. Fuck. Damien Hardwick's eyes will light up. I guarantee you that. Wiedering, looked good. Looked good in the air. Looked strong. Thought he was clearly our best key defender. Not that we had too many. A little bit lazy with his kicking at times. But I thought, that was a really good preparation for a big job against he's now, I reckon, an arch rival in Tom Lynch. I can't wait to watch that matchup. Zach Fisher's had a really quiet pre-season in regards to the form, and I don't mind that with him. Is he getting any midfield minutes? What is essentially his role? Is he going to be a small forward, a high half forward? I think he'd be that type of player that comes up to the extra man at the stoppage. But, yeah, although he worked into the game after half-time. But you look at the Swannies' left-footers, and they all kick the ball really long with penetration. He's a left-footer. I'd like to see him be a little bit more damaging when he gets the ball. Cowan, really impressive. Really impressive. I think you're obviously already a fan favourite. Does he essentially just play a lockdown role on one of their smalls? He could do that. He could do that. He could be the one to play. He could be. If you're going to play one, it could be him. It could be him. But, yeah, he did impress. He really did. It's hard not to like the way he went about it. Pitnet, coming back from a long injury, a long layoff, looks that far off the pace. And not that he's a fast man, but he can't jump. What does he offer? What does he offer at the moment if he's underdone? Big concerns. Hewitt, solid, just solid against his old club. Had a dip. Charlie, I thought, was pretty good. Had to come up the ground to get his ball. Thought he worked McCartan over. Looks in really good shape. Really good shape. Young, sloppy, just really sloppy. Thought he was sloppy against Collingwood. Took a few contested marks down back, but just thought his ball use looks a little bit underdone. I know he had an injury. I thought he was poor against the Swans. So, yeah, I think Wiedering needs a wingman, and that's Lewis Young. He'll have the job, obviously, on Revolt, you would think, or resting ruckman at times. He won't want to give his opponents too much leg rope like he has been so far in the pre-season. He's been a little bit off, a little bit on the nose, old Lewis Young. I don't mind him. Don't get me wrong, and I think he'll get better. And yeah, I'm not going to speak about Liam Jones, but fuck, he looked good again for the doggies. Fuck, he looked good. Oh, Liam. Ed. Oh, no, I mean, everyone loves Ed, but Jesus Christ. Well, yeah, I mean, Josh Honey did sweet fuck all in 2 games. There's a lot of hype around this guy. There's a lot of hype, and he's getting opportunities at the moment because there's no Durden. No, he's been out injured. He's had opportunities, and he hasn't taken them. A little bit disappointing. What does he give? And Durden, that's Sam, the key position, South Australian, former Kangaroo, came across in the mid-season draft last year. He came on late, made a couple of errors, but pretty hard to come on and make an impact in a game like that. Sard, I don't know if he's playing within himself in the first 2 games, or the opposition are putting some work into him because they know how good he is, and they know also that there's a lack of other options in regards to runs. So who are we going to get our run with? Who are Carlton going to attack through? It's obviously Sard is the man, and it would have been Zach Williams, who's a huge loss. Zach Williams I know he's frustrating injuries, but he's a huge loss for our footy club. And people go, well, we'll get Newman back, but Newman's a different type of player. So there's your two running guns. And let's not forget Jordan Boyd either in that role. He was showing such good signs as a running defender, a guy who could really take the opposition on, run at the defence and kick the ball with precision and power. And they're 2 big losses. So Sard's the man. And Richmond are going to put some serious work into him. And we're going to probably see him work really hard defensively, but not get off the chain. Matt Owies, I just don't think he's... It's awful to say. I just don't think he's AFL standard. And I understand that you need pressure forwards. I just don't think he's AFL standard. When you look at the quality of the small forwards in other teams, and he was coming back from injury, so you cut him a little bit of slack. Well, there you go, guys. That's a wrap. For my Blue Heaven review and a little bit of a ramble about what to expect in the opening round of the season. I'll be back before that round 1 clash against the Tigers just to run an eye over both teams. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how we go, who comes up. It's going to be a lot of rumours. It's going to be a lot of speculation about, McGovern and Jack Martin. Do we play two rucks? Does Marchbank come in? All those types of things. Is Sammy Walsh just going to have a miraculous recovery? And don't we miss him? Don't we miss his work rate, his run? He's not, I suppose, the greatest kick and ball user, but we do. I mean, he's just an out-and-out star. So, do we roll the dice if he's ready to go? I actually can't even answer that. If he's ready to go, say he's 100% physically ready to go, which you'd think he wouldn't be. Say he's 95%, because I'm sure a lot of these players don't play at 100%. Does he play? I don't know. We'll find out. Anyway, guys, speak very soon. That's 31 minutes. Fuck, that's a long time. Enjoy.